Hello nerds, you are about to jump into the nerd news pertaining to comic books and books right here with me, Generally Nerdy, pre-recording on the things and the stuff, but this is the most recent episode, I promise you. If you want to see the entire episode, then check out the top link in the description, assuming you are watching on YouTube. Otherwise, youtube.com/generallynerdy and generallynerdy.net are the best places to go for that. So without any further ado, let's hit the news. Comic books and books, we have a bit more than usual here, and I'm going to start the section off with a little bit of a follow-up in that Free Comic Book Day happened last episode as I was recording, and I didn't mention it at all because that was really the only bit of comic book news and yada 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 yada. I'm sorry. But what did you get at Free Comic Book Day? Because there was legit some great books. So let's have that conversation in the comments or wherever we got to do that. On the socials would be fantastic too. Next is another follow-up, and this has to do with New York Comic Con. New York Comic Con is going in person this year. They are sticking with that, at least for now. So far, October 7th through the 10th are the dates that is going to happen. There is a bit of a caveat to that, though. They are going to have mask requirements for everybody who attends the con, as well as require vaccination proof. So if you have not gotten stuck with the vaccination, then you will not be allowed to enter New York Comic Con, even if you have tickets. So keep that in mind. If you don't want to get your vaccination, then unfortunately you will not be able to go to Comic Con in person for New York Comic Con. Just the way of the world. It is what it is. We're moving on. So let's move into proper news, and we're starting things off with a great little piece from Chuck Dixon. Chuck Dixon is doing a series of vlogs on his YouTube channel, and the most recent one, which you can find linked down low, has to do with how he weaponized everything for Batman, from his cape to the Batmobile to everything. It's pretty awesome. That's all we really have on that without me going into excruciating detail, which you can get from Chuck Dixon's vlog. Again, link down in the description. So moving next into DC Webtoons. So Webtoons is a company that exists. DC makes comic books. They have recently struck a deal that they're going to put out some standalone Webtoon style comics through the South Korean company Naver that owns Webtoons. The idea behind this is, and I quote, "We will appeal to all fans without the need to know or read any previous stories." So this almost kind of lends us to believe some of those rumors that DC Comics are kind of starting to go into the death throes, that they're not long for this world, and this is like something to do with the last-ditch effort, because web comics are a thing and have been for a while, so why did they have to sign this crazy contract when they could just go the Marvel route? And I don't know. We will be keeping close watch on this one. We're moving, though, next into an interesting one also from DC. This has to do with villains, specifically the Penguin and Batman's Rogues Gallery. We are getting the release of a new comic, and that comic is called Gotham City Villains Anniversary Giant #1. It is the 80th anniversary of the Penguin, as well as Poison Ivy and a number of other villains, and they're all going to be featured in this to some degree. Again, it's going to be out in November, and the really noteworthy thing about this is that at least one of the Penguin stories, as it sounds like there's going to be a number of different stories about each of the villains who are celebrating their 80th birthday, but one of the Penguin stories is going to be co-written by Dany DeVito, who played the Penguin, if you remember, in the Tim Burton movie back in the second Tim Burton movie in 91, I believe, is when that happened. But yeah, super awesome. Moving on, we're talking, our final piece is Daredevil related. Marvel has announced that the Daredevil book will be coming to an end. Maybe? So they're saying very specifically that Chip Zdarsky will stay writing Daredevil somehow, but also issue number 36 is going to be the last Daredevil book. They were kind of murky about the details. It does seem, though, that somebody new is going to be taking over the red pajamas and face covering. I don't know. It was very interesting. Issue number 36 will be on shelves in November. That, again, they're billing it as the final Daredevil book, but they're also saying that the Daredevil adventure has not ended. It's a very interesting situation. We will be keeping tabs on this, but that is what we have for comics and books. Once again, this was the comic books and books section from the Week in Nerddom, a much larger show that I do twice a week, so you can go find the most recent episode if you follow the link in the description, or if you're not watching on YouTube, then just check out youtube.com/generallynerdy or generallynerdy.net, or to get behind the paywall, patreon.com/generallynerdy, not paywall.com. Wouldn't that be a thing? Anyway, thank you very much, nerds. We are going to head out now. Before I go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.